Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Ivy English. I'm Bruce.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Meh. Meh.
Oh, this is the lamb. It's a very mature-sounding lamb, I'm just going to say.
Yeah, we're ancient.
I heard that.
Well, the lamb is gray.
Yeah. 大家记得吗？我们这个月刚开头的时候呢，我们讲到哈，这个3月呢开始的时候就像 lion 一样，因为天气非常的这个，通常尤其在国外，3月还是很冷的啊，酷寒的天气。但是到了3月底呢，啊，就像一个绵羊一样，因为开始春天来了，开始天候 ，Yeah， 这个春天来了，然后气候变得温暖了。
Okay, now we're getting serious. The title of today's lesson, which is a lot of fun, is One Rotten Apple Spoils the Barrel. Some people say One Rotten Apple Spoils the Bunch.
好，那我们的中文标题呢，就是这一句话的翻译，就是一粒老鼠屎坏了一锅粥啊。那这个事实上我们可以看到，它这个，你从字面上也可以看得出来它的意思啊。Rotten 就是烂掉的、坏掉的啊，一颗坏掉的苹果，它会破坏整桶的苹果啊。那个 barrel 就是那种大的那个桶子，通常是用这个装酒啊或者怎么样那种大的桶子，好，所以一桶的这个苹果呢，就因为里面有一颗坏掉了，就整桶都坏掉了。那 bunch 就是一堆，好，就一群或者一捆或者应该是一堆了哈，一堆的苹果，所以也是一样，这一堆苹果里面呢有一颗坏掉，那就整个都坏掉了。好，所以这个事实上英文里面 a bad apple 或者 a rotten apple 事实上就是一个 term, right? 好，所以 a bad apple 或者一个 rotten apple 其实就是类似中文讲的害群之马啊，但是它讲的是 a bad person 哈 in a group of people 啊，那这个 group of people 本来是 who are good 啊，那这个但是里面有一个 bad person， 那这个通常这个 bad person 他的 behavior 也常常会这个 to have a corrupting influence on the rest， 它可能会影响到其他的啊，本来其他都不错，但因为有这个 bad apple 让其他都变得没有那么好了，所以 a bad apple a rotten apple 是常用的。
And one further comment here on the word bunch. Some fruits which cluster, which naturally occur not singly, one by one, say a bunch of bananas, a bunch of grapes.
What's interesting about bunch is that it's basically a set of objects that have a connection. So originally, like a bunch of grapes, they're literally held to each other. But now we talk about a bunch of things, and I've noticed that the way that native speakers use this bunch is that there's some categorical relationship between the things, is when we say a bunch of things.
Yeah, a bunch of friends and I went to...
Yes, and the relationship is that you're friends. It's not, right?
Yeah. 好，所以这个 bunch 刚刚 Bruce 老师讲，这个 bunch 其实它原来有那个概念，就是尤其讲到这个水果的话呢 ，a bunch of fruits 啊，例如说这个香蕉或者是葡萄啊，那中文这个时候这个 bunch 相当于串的意思啊，一串香蕉啊，一串葡萄。
Okay, we have two guys today, Scott and Paul. They have a very short dialogue here. As you will find out, apparently they are a couple college guys, and they're having a very short discussion. I will play the role of Scott.
And I guess I will be Paul.
Scott begins, I need to find another place to live.
I thought you loved living in the dorms.
I did, but now we have to sign in and out all the time.
What happened?
A guy in our building had a couple of his friends living in his room. They were there for 5 months.
Now you're all having to pay the price.
It just goes to show that one rotten apple spoils the barrel. Now we all have to carry a pass and sign in every evening.
If they were living there for 5 months and no one said anything, you're all kind of a little bit complicit. Just saying.
所以 Angela 说，如果这些家伙在里面住了5个月啊，然后都没有人反应的话，那其实其他的人也是某一种共犯哈。你就是你为什么不早点讲呢哈？为什么不早点去这个想办法啊？这个也许跟这个社监报告一下等等的啊，不用到现在变成这样子哈。那刚刚有用到一个字呢 ，complicit 啊，就是共犯、共谋的意思。How do you spell that word?
C-O-M-P-L-I-C-I-T. C-O-M-P-L-I-C-I-T. P-L-I-C-I-T. I am complicit working with these two.
Well, complicit means that you can be implicated in the same crime or in the same activity. So saying that you're complicit working with us is actually, to be honest, not quite the most appropriate use of this word because we're not actually engaging in anything illegal or underhanded here, as far as I know.
Yeah, if I were your composition teacher, I would say word choice.
Yes.
Underline that word and mark word choice.
How many lines would you underline it with? 5, 10? With red ink?
Circle, star.
Yeah.
I would just go to a student like, I'm not sure this word means what you think it means.
所以呢，这个 complicit 就是共犯的意思哈。所以刚刚这个 Bruce 老师开玩笑说，他跟我们两个人是一起共同在做这件事情，他用 complicit。
He was trying to imply that we are doing something bad.
Yeah， 那我跟 Angela 老师呢就抗议，好，你用错字了，不对哈。We're doing something good here.
We are. Also, I just want to say, when you say just saying at the end of a sentence, you're implying that what you're saying is perfectly innocent. But also the point is you're saying, you're giving a message to people. It's a kind of passive-aggressive thing to do.
Yeah， 这个 just saying 啊，有一点像中文的，我只是说而已啦，
Yeah.
我只是在说，但其实就是你还是想要说，所以你就把它说出来了。
Yeah, you're trying to deflect criticism.
Yeah,
There you go.
好 deflect 这个字我们之前有介绍过，这个就是让它折射。那 deflect 在这里就是有点让它弹开来的那种感觉因为 D 是 away 嘛那个 flect 是 bend 的意思就是弯曲把往别的地方弯曲过去了就把它折射掉了。那我们上次介绍这个字的时候是跟 reflect 一起介绍的。reflect 是反倾或者是折射的意思，因为 RE 是 back。好，那 deflect 的那个 DE 是 away 的意思。
Okay, so Scott starts, I need to find another place to live. As I mentioned, these are a couple, usually college, for this type of talk about dormitories and the whole sense. Although in some private schools that are still secondary schools, they may also have dorms.
But, calling something a place to live is a really beautiful way of talking about the thing without describing anything about where you're living. If you want to say, I want to find a house, then you're looking for a separate or a detached house. If you're trying to find an apartment, it's like in part of another building. But a place to live is the most general way you can say what you need without describing anything about the particulars. It's useful.
Yeah, 所以这个 a place to live, 这个 to live 它是一个不定词片语修饰那个 place 那这个是一个很好的一个说法，因为它其实就是说类似中文讲的我要找一个住的地方。当你说住的地方的时候，你就不用说我要找个公寓，我要找个房子，不用找不用这样讲出来。英文也是一样，你不必说你要找个 house， 你要找个 flat， 你要找个 apartment， 都不用讲你就直接说 I need a place to live 或者 I need to find another place to live。 那为什么是 another 呢？因为 you already have one place 或者是 a place to live， 你已经有一个地方住了，但现在呢我不要住在我现在住的地方呢，我要找一个 another place to live。
So the another indicates that you're going to change from your existing place.
Yeah, 所以这个 another 暗示就是我要换一个地方了，我现在这个不要了，我要换另外一个地方，所以是另外一个，所以是 another。
Now then, Paul goes, I thought you loved living in the dorms. Now, why did he use the past tense? Because you definitely could say this sentence, I thought you love living in the dorms. Actually, though, come to think of it, you couldn't say, I thought you love living in the dorms, because thought is already past tense. So this is a past tense sentence. And the loved is past tense because it's a past tense sentence, but also because it's indicating the change. Scott has already said, I'm changing places, and you use past tense to indicate a change. So if your friend comes up to you and said, oh yeah, I loved him, then you're going to definitely be like, what? What happened? I thought you just know that a change happened. So past tense is an indicator of change.
OK， 好，这个地方这个句子简单是简单，但是各位要注意这个时态像这个地方他说 I thought 就是我以为，这个 thought 是过去式，所以 I thought you loved 这个 loved 要用过去式那这个地方其实不适合用现在式。有的人会说可是我现在还是喜欢我以为你现在还是喜欢但其实不对这个地方它主要的这个主要动词 thought 已经是过去式了，所以后面这个you loved 应该要用过去式，而且这个过去式呢，它表示你已经接受了这个改变了，就是你已经知道说现在不是这样子的，所以用过去式 I thought you loved， 所以这个要注意。那另外一个要注意的是 I thought you loved living in the dorms。 Why is the dorms in plural here?
Because it's the dormitories, because it's a set. It's a set of rooms that many people live in individually. And so you could also say living in the dorm. People do use it singularly, but you can use it plurally because
No.
it's multiple dorms.
Okay.
Or the person has lived in more than one dorm, not only the one he's living in now, but he lived in other ones before.
But that case, you wouldn't say the dorms. You would just say you love living in dorms, the category of dorms. But if you're in the dorms, you're talking about the set of dorms that the university or school has.
Yes, that's right. Within a set.
Within a set. So you say, if you want to talk about all the dorms that he lived in his life that he's enjoyed, you say, oh, I thought you loved living in dorms. I thought the category of dorms was a category of housing you enjoyed.
好，所以这里呢，这个东西是我们母语是中文的人常常搞不清楚的哈，但是对于 native speakers 来讲，他们很自然就会分出这个单数还是复数，要不要冠词哈，所以这个东西不容易学，但是各位一定要学，你的英文才能够真正学好，不然的话，你讲英文总是会有一点点地方不太对劲啊。那这个地方I thought you loved living in the dorms 它这里为什么是用复数呢？因为这个地方想到的是这个整个宿舍，a set of rooms， 就有很多很多的这个宿舍，所以整个宿舍它是复数的，不止一间宿舍，好多间宿舍。好，那这里呢，所以 the dorms 就是指你喜欢住宿舍。那如果说你用单数可不可以 ？I thought you loved living in the dorm， 单数也可以。那单数呢，就是指你住的那一间就不是指整个宿舍群不是指整个宿舍区，而是说你住的这间宿舍。好，那如果你说这个。我以为你喜欢住宿舍，指的是你从小到现在住了很多宿舍，所以你指的是住宿舍这件事情，你没有特别指哪一群宿舍的话，你也可以说 I thought you loved living in dorms。这个意思就是说我以为你喜欢住不管什么宿舍，你都住过的宿舍，或者是想住的宿舍，或者要住的宿舍都可以，就是没有特别指哪些宿舍。所以这里呢，其实三个都可以，但是有不同的意思In the dorms。那就是表示学校现在这一群宿舍群就是整个宿舍区整个宿舍群。那如果说 in the dorm 就是指你住的这一间，我以为你喜欢住在这一间。如果你说 living in dorms 就表示 generally 你喜欢住在宿舍里面而且可能也表示你住过不止一间宿舍。
Okay, yeah. I did, says Scott. I did love living in the dorms, but now we have to sign in and out all the time. To sign in, many people do this. Depending on the type of job you have, you walk into a building, maybe for a very large company or a government office, something like that. And before they let you go up in the elevator, you have to sign your name, maybe show your ID or something like that. That's signing in. And then, of course, the opposite will be to sign out. When you leave the building, they have to know that you're no longer in it by your signing your name on the way out of the building. Now, for this dorm, apparently now we have to. Previously, before, they didn't have to, but now they do, and that's what we would call a hassle, Hassle. Hassle. Not a very big thing, but it's bothersome. It's annoying.
Since we've brought up this word hassle, let me just do my pet issue.
Rant.
麻烦 is best translated as hassle, not as trouble.
Oh.
Yeah, 所以呢，这个地方很好的一点就是各位注意，我们中文讲的麻烦，其实最好的翻译是 hassle。因为 trouble 通常是有问题的
，Yeah,
trouble
是
蛮严重的，是有问题的，那种麻烦所以你也可以说 you're in trouble， 那就你完蛋了你 something bad is going to happen to you。但是如果说你只觉得这个事情很烦这不是不能做，也不是什么大事情，那就很麻烦，这个时候最好的翻译是 hassle。
Now let me give you some examples of how to use hassle. Gee, that's going to be a lot of hassle.
Troublesome. Well, I don't want to say trouble, but we could say troublesome.
You could say troublesome, but hassle is just way better. If you're going to directly translate Chinese to English, hassle is the way to do it. So, gee, it's going to be a lot of hassle. Oh, that's so much hassle.
What a hassle.
What a hassle is the next choice.
好，所以这些that's so much hassle 或者 what a hassle 啊，这些或者说 it's going to be a lot of hassle， 这个 hassle 都是麻烦的意思啊，不是什么问题，不是什么困难，就是很麻烦而已啊。你要做这个，要做这个，要做这个，你想了就觉得很累那种感觉。
You can also say, oh, that's such a hassle.
啊，所以这个你也可以说 that's such a hassle 啊，这个哇，真的是烦死了。
And all of these perfectly translate to, oh, 好麻烦哦。
yeah，
真的
好麻
烦
烦哦，真是麻烦哈。所以不是 trouble 啊，各位记得 trouble 是比较严重的啊。OK， 好，所以这地方我们讲到说这个，我现在我必须要 sign in， 就是我进去要签名啊，出来也要签名。那 all the time 常常有那种 impatient 的感觉，一天到晚啊，我总是要这么做，真的烦死了那种感觉。好 ，all the time， 大家记得 all the time 常常有那种 impatient 的感觉。好，那 sign in 就是进去的时候要签字。We can also say clock in, right? But it's different.Yeah,
that's what
打卡
Yeah.
Clock in 就是打卡，然后上班的时候到了，你打卡那个 clock 就是钟的那个是 clock in， 在这也是当动词用。Do you say clock out?
Yes.
OK， 好，所以打卡到的时候打卡，离公司下班的时候这个打卡下班 clock out.
And so then Paul goes, what happened? And I just want to say I've noticed that ESL speakers sometimes say what happens in this case, and that's not the correct way to do, because that's not the correct way to say it, because what happens is what happens next in the story, not what happened before in the past.
好，所以这用 what happened 记得要用过去式，因为是已经发生的事情嘛，因为显然有前面看到 now we have to 表示以前不用，现在要了，所以 something changed， 所以 what happened。 好，那这个有一种蛮幽默的方法，就是如果有个人他夸说，哎，我小时候 I used to be a very smart kid, I used to be so handsome， 然后你就可以说 well what happened 好，所以那发生了什么事情呢？你怎么现在变得意思就是你现在完全不聪明、不漂亮、不可爱了哈，所以这个也是一种开玩笑的方法。
Okay, Scott says, he explains, a guy in our building, in our dorm, had a couple of his friends living in his room. Living, not visiting, maybe not even staying for the weekend. Living. They were there for 5 months, and then you can absolutely say living.
What's the difference between staying and living? Staying is temporary. It's less than, I would have said 6 months, but 5 months works.
Yeah. 所以 stay 跟 live 的差别 ，stay 是比较短期的，好，那 live 就比较长期的，所以五个月可以称为 live 的，它不是 stay， 不是短期的居留了。好，那这个地方还有一个很重要的文法，就是 have。好，这个当实义动词的时候，它有3种可能，一个是 you had somebody， 然后后面加原形动词，那这个时候它的意思是要某人做某件事情，或者让某件事情被完成。例如说 ，she had the doctor check。Her leg check 是原形动词，就是他要医生来检查他的脚，所以要某人做某事，这个时候是用原形动词。那另外一种是 have 后面加人或者事物，再加过去分词，这个时候它的意思是让某人或某事接受了某个动作，所以它有被动的意思。各位就记得一个句子 I had my hair cut 啊，我的头发剪了啊，我让我的头发接受了被剪的动作，或者是我们之前讲到量体温的时候，你可以说 had your temperature taken 啊，所以是你的体温被量了。那另外一个就是我们这里的，就是 have had have 或者 had 后面加人或者物，再加 VING， 这个时候意思是说让这个人或这个物产生某种结果。所以像这个地方 had a couple of his friends living， 就是让他的几个朋友呢，结果就是住在这里了啊。那你也可以说这个I got the machine running， 我把这个机器让它能够动了，你讲的是一个结果啊。或者 she had everyone in the room laughing 啊，她让每个人都笑了，这个时候是 laughing， 这也是一个结果。
Had is also having someone do something for you. Like I had the packages delivered.
Oh, yeah. 这个就是 had the package delivered， 就是我们讲的第一种情况，要某人做某事或者让某件事情被完成。
Yeah, exactly.
这都是很常用的用法，大家稍微区分一下。
So here's another version of having. So now you're all having to pay the price.But this having is not the had that we just talked about. This having is must. So now you must pay the price. You must be the one that has to suffer through the result.
Yeah, 那各位注意到这个是现在进行式，表示这件事情正在发生。好 ，Now you're all having to pay the price. 所以 have to 其实也可以用在现在式，像这个地方用在现在进行式。好 ，you're all having to 就你们现在都必须要做这件事情。
You could also just say, now you all have to pay the price. You don't have to use the progressive. Is there a difference between you all have to pay the price and you're all having to?
Progressive suggests that something is ongoing rather than just one time
It's
or
not
once.
just a single price, it's an ongoing price paying.
Yeah, 现在进行式呢，常常有一个 period 的感觉，就在这段期间那种感觉。好，所以 you're all having to pay the price， 就是你们现在这段期间，你们都必须要做这件事情。那 have to 就是一个事实的，就是 you all have to pay the price， 也可以就表示说你们都必须要付出代价，它没有那种正在发生的感觉。
Okay, we finish with Scott. It just goes to show, or this just goes to show, or even that just goes to show, that one rotten apple spoils the barrel. And that takes us back to our title, which we have already described what it means. And Paul's situation is an example of why we have these kinds of sayings, such as one rotten apple spoils the barrel. No one else in the dormitory apparently invited friends to live with them. So just one person misbehaves or does something wrong.
He was flagrantly flaunting the rules.
Whoa. Are you ready for that?
他公然的这个违抗或者是有一点那种嘲笑的感觉，这个规定就是我就是不守这个规定，你要怎么样那种感觉。
Yeah, he wasn't just having a tiny discrepancy. He wasn't like leaving his toothbrush in the bathroom overnight. Like
Yeah.
Or even having friends stay on the weekend.
Yeah, which
5 months?
Yeah, on the weekend it's a gray area, but it's already not okay, but it's a gray area. But 5 months is really egregious.
Yeah, 好，那这个地方呢，大家要记得这个用法哈。It just goes to show that 啊，我们常常讲说一个 event 或者一个 situation， 你说这个 event 或这个 situation goes to show something， 它的意思就是 it proves that something is true 的意思。那要注意，这个通常不会用现在进行式，你不会说 it is going to show that， 通常不会这样讲啊。
Right.
通常就是 it just goes to show that， 或者 it only goes to show that 都可以啊，就是这正说明了，这正证明了什么事情啊。所以在这里就是说，讲完之后讲到这里说啊，这就说明了。啊，这个一粒老鼠屎坏了一锅粥啊！一个人不守规定，害得我们大家都不行。
And the result is, of course, now we all have to carry a pass. That's a piece of plastic or a piece of paper that proves who you are, your name on it, your address, and so on, and sign in every evening when they finish work, possibly, or after their classes or a visit to the library. It doesn't matter. When they go back home, when they go back to their dorm, they have to sign in.
好，所以现在呢，我们大家都要带一个通行证 ，pass 就是一个通行证 ，sign in 就是签到，或者是到的时候进去之前要签字。那刚刚这个 Angela 老师用了一个字哈 ，egregious， 这个字大家其实可以学一下哈 ，egregious 就是非常的糟糕哈，这个一个 very bad example 哈 ，conspicuously bad 或者 offensive。那这个字其实它的拼法啊，这个很简单 ，GREGIOUS， 那字根上面来讲 ，E 就是 out， 那 GREG 就是 herd 群体的意思哈 ，HERD， 所以换句话说 ，egregious 就是大家都这样做，可是你跑出去了，你往外跑了，所以它其实是过分的意思啊，所以这个字可以顺便学一下。
Okay, hope you enjoyed our discussion of two guys discussing one of their problem in a dorm. And try and remember, one rotten apple spoils the barrel. And I hope you're not the rotten apple.
Please don't be the rotten apple.
Okay, until next month. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.